Sophie had written Dad across the place card in careful block letters, decorated it with 3 blue stars, and hidden it in the recycling before she told him not to come. Daniel did not know about the card yet. What he heard was his 10-year-old daughter standing beside the kitchen table on Monday morning, holding a folded school flyer against her chest and saying, "Family reading day is Friday. But you don't need to come." She said it quickly, without looking at him. Daniel was still wearing the navy delivery shirt he had slept in for 4 hours after a late route. The reflective stripe on one sleeve caught the kitchen light. He looked down at it, then at the clean white blouse Sophie had chosen for school picture day. "You don't want me there in this?" he asked. Sophie pushed the flyer into her backpack. "I just said you don't have to come." The answer landed harder than Daniel expected. For years, she had asked him to read every story with a different voice. She used to laugh before he reached the funny parts because she knew which voice was coming. Now there was a school event built around reading, and she wanted an empty chair instead of him. Daniel lifted his travel mug from the counter. "Fine," he said. "If that's what you want." Sophie nodded once. She carried her backpack to the door, leaving both of them with an answer neither one meant. Daniel had driven delivery routes for 6 years. The work was steady, and steady mattered. His schedule looked predictable on Sunday night, North Route Monday, warehouse run Tuesday, city businesses Wednesday. By Tuesday afternoon, a driver could call in sick, a truck could fail inspection, or a customer could add 40 boxes that had to arrive before closing. The boxes did not care what was written on a family calendar. Daniel cared. That was what made the missed events hurt. The previous autumn, he had promised to attend Sophie's school picnic. He packed 2 bottles of lemonade before work and left them in the refrigerator. At 11 that morning, dispatch sent him across town with a medical supply delivery that could not wait. He called Sophie's teacher and arrived after the picnic tables had been folded. At the winter science evening, he told Sophie he would be there unless the route gets crazy. The route did. She stood beside a cardboard bridge for 40 minutes while families moved through the gym. Daniel arrived as a custodian switched off half the lights. He took Sophie for hot chocolate afterward. He listened while she explained how much weight the bridge had held. He told himself the evening had been repaired because she smiled in the cafe. But a late cup of hot chocolate was not the same as looking up during the experiment and finding him where he had said he might be. Daniel rarely used the word promise. He used softer words, probably, should, I'll try, I think I can make it. To him, those words were honest. They admitted that work could change. To Sophie, they still created a chair. On Monday evening, Daniel found the reading day flyer beneath a cereal bowl. The event ran from 9:30 to 10:15 on Friday. Each student could bring one adult. Families would sit in a circle while students shared a favorite passage, then choose books together from the classroom shelves. At the bottom, Sophie's teacher had written, "Guests are welcome in work clothes. Please come as you are." Daniel read that sentence twice. Sophie was doing spelling practice at the other end of the table. She kept her pencil close to the page even when she was not writing. "Mrs. Bell says work clothes are fine," Daniel said. "I know. Then why did you look at my shirt this morning?" "I didn't." "Sophomore." She pressed the eraser into the same word until the paper wrinkled. "Can we not make this a thing?" Daniel placed the flyer beside her worksheet. "I'm not making it a thing. I'm trying to understand why my daughter doesn't want me at her school. Maybe I just don't." There were gentler questions he could have asked. He could have noticed that Sophie had not said she was embarrassed. He could have asked what she expected Friday morning to feel like. Instead, he heard dismissal. "All right," he said. Message received. He took the flyer and stuck it to the refrigerator with a magnet, as if displaying it proved he was not hurt. That night, Sophie asked whether he remembered the voice of Captain Alder from an old adventure book they had read together. "The one who sounded like he swallowed a trumpet?" Daniel asked. For a second, her smile returned. It didn't sound like a trumpet. It absolutely did. She opened her mouth as if she might say something else. Then Daniel's work phone buzzed on the counter. He looked toward it. When he looked back, Sophie had picked up her water glass. "Never mind," she said. On Tuesday afternoon, Mrs. Bell sent Daniel an email asking families to confirm attendance. Daniel read it in the cab between stops. "Sophie has not listed a guest yet. No pressure at all, but I wanted to make sure the invitation reached you." Daniel typed, "I received it. Sophie would prefer that I not attend." He stared at the sentence. It made his daughter sound cold. He deleted it. He typed, "I am checking my route." That made him sound as though he planned to come. He deleted that too. Finally he locked the phone and loaded the next boxes. At dinner, he asked whether Sophie wanted her grandmother to attend instead. "No. Your mom could ask for a later shift." "No. Mrs. Bell needs a name." Sophie moved peas around her plate. "She can write nobody." Daniel felt the hurt becoming anger because anger was easier to carry. "You know, most kids would be happy that their family wanted to show up." Sophie put down her fork. "Then go to their class." The words shocked both of them. Daniel leaned back. "What is going on with you?" "Nothing. You don't get to speak to me like that because you suddenly think you're too old for your dad." Sophie's face changed. Not guilt. Not defiance. For one moment, it looked like she had been accused of hiding something she had tried very hard not to feel. "I don't think that," she said quietly. "Then tell me what you do think." She gathered her plate. "I think you should stop saying you'll try." Daniel followed her into the kitchen. "I haven't said that about Friday. You told me not to come before I could answer." "Good. Then you don't have to answer." She rinsed her plate, set it in the rack, and went upstairs. Daniel remained beside the sink. He could still hear the sentence beneath the running water, "Stop saying you'll try." He pulled the school flyer from the refrigerator. Friday's route began at 8. The first 6 stops were close to the school, but the final 3 crossed the river. If every customer was ready, he could take a break at 9:20 and reach the classroom. If one loading dock delayed him, he could not. He wrote maybe, reading day on the family calendar. The next morning, the words were gone. Sophie had not erased the rest of the week. Only Friday. Daniel replaced them. That evening, Friday was blank again. "Did you erase the calendar?" he asked. Sophie was sitting on the living room rug with 3 library books spread around her. "It was pencil." "That isn't what I asked." "You wrote maybe." "Maybe isn't a plan." Daniel sat on the sofa. "I can't control every route change." "I know. Then what do you want me to write?" Sophie closed the book in her lap. "Nothing." Daniel heard ingratitude again. He thought of early mornings, fuel receipts, wet loading docks, and birthday presents purchased after overtime shifts. He wanted Sophie to understand that uncertainty was not lack of love. "I work because this family needs me to," he said. "I don't miss things for fun." Sophie looked toward the calendar. "I didn't say you did. You act like none of what I do counts because I can't sit in a classroom on command." "I didn't ask you to sit there." "Exactly." The room went quiet. Sophie placed the books in a stack. The top one was the old adventure story with Captain Alder. Daniel had not seen it for more than a year. "That was the book you wanted to read Friday," he said. Sophie held it against her sweater. "Not anymore." She carried the stack upstairs. On Thursday, Daniel's supervisor asked whether anyone could take an early airport route Friday. Finishing it would put a driver back near the school before 9. Daniel almost volunteered. Then he remembered Sophie's expression at dinner and kept checking labels on his cart. Another driver took it. Later that afternoon, Mrs. Bell called. Sophie had left the adventure book in the classroom reading basket, then become upset when another student picked it up. Nothing serious had happened, but the teacher wondered if Daniel could collect the book after his route. Daniel reached the school at 5:15. The hallways smelled faintly of floor cleaner and pencil shavings. Children's paper lanterns hung above the classroom door. Inside, chairs had been arranged in pairs around a wide circle. Every child-sized chair had an adult chair beside it. Mrs. Bell handed Daniel the book. A folded piece of card rested on top. "This belongs to Sophie too," she said. Daniel opened it. Dad filled the center in blue marker. 3 uneven stars ran along the bottom. In smaller writing, Sophie had added, "This chair is for the person who does all the voices." One sentence on the back had been rubbed with an eraser until the paper turned soft. "He is coming." Daniel looked at the circle of paired chairs. One adult chair near the classroom library had no place card. "She made this last week," Mrs. Bell said. "Yesterday she asked me to remove it." Daniel ran his thumb along one blue star. "Did she say why?" The teacher chose her words carefully. "She said it was easier if the chair was supposed to be empty. She didn't want to keep looking at the door." Daniel remembered the science evening. Sophie beside her bridge. Every time the gym doors opened, her head had turned. He had focused on the hot chocolate afterward because it was the part he could still give her. He had not asked what it cost to wait through the part he missed. "She thinks I don't care," he said. Mrs. Bell shook her head. "That isn't what she told me. She said your job helps everybody at home. She knows the reasons." Knowing the reasons had not made the empty chair less empty. Daniel had believed Sophie's refusal meant, "I don't want you." The place card meant something different. "I want you enough that I need to stop hoping before it hurts." He sat in the unclaimed adult chair. He did not call Sophie immediately. He did not send a photograph of the card or write a long defense. He opened his work schedule and looked for something he could say without the word maybe. The airport route was gone. The regular Friday route was still his. Daniel called his coworker Marcus, who preferred Saturday hours but had been assigned Friday morning. Daniel offered to take Marcus's Saturday warehouse run in exchange for the first half of Friday. Marcus agreed, but dispatch still needed approval. Daniel called his supervisor. He did not say there was an emergency. He said there was a 45-minute school event he had already missed too many versions of. The supervisor rearranged the final stops and confirmed the change by email. Only then did Daniel go home. Sophie was at the kitchen table. Friday on the calendar remained blank. Daniel placed the blue star card beside her hand. She froze. "Mrs. Bell gave me your book," he said. This was on top. Sophie turned the card face down. "I threw it away." "I know. You weren't supposed to see it." Daniel sat across from her. "I thought you didn't want me there because of my uniform." "I don't care about your uniform." "I know that now." He wanted to tell her he had tried his best at every missed event. That was true, but it was not the first truth she needed. "When I say I'll try," he said, "you still have to decide whether to save me a chair. Then you have to watch the door. I left you doing that by yourself." Sophie traced the edge of the card. "At the science fair, Mrs. Bell said families could come late," she whispered. "So every time somebody came in, I thought it was you." Daniel let the sentence remain in the room. "I'm sorry," he said. "Not because work changed. Because I kept giving you an answer that made you wait." Sophie did not smile or tell him everything was fine. "Are you coming tomorrow?" she asked. Daniel opened the confirmed schedule on his phone and turned it toward her. "I can be there from 9:25 until 10:15. Marcus is taking the first route, and dispatch approved it. I have to leave at 10:15. If that changes before we go to bed, I will tell you. But right now, this is a yes. Sophie read the screen. A real yes? A real yes. She looked at the card but did not turn it over. You can wear the shirt, she said. Daniel arrived at 9:23 wearing the navy delivery shirt. He had no time to change, and for the first time that week, he understood that the shirt had never been the problem. Through the classroom window, he saw Sophie sitting beside the empty adult chair. The blue star card was not on it. She held it flat beneath her book, hidden from everyone else. The hallway door opened. Sophie looked up. Her face did not transform into a movie-perfect grin. First came surprise, even though he had given her a real yes. Then caution. Then a small release around her shoulders. Daniel took the chair beside her. 9:23, he whispered. You're 2 minutes early. Please record that for history. Sophie slid the place card from under the book and set it on his knee. When her turn came, she opened the adventure story to a passage marked with a yellow tab. Captain Alder was arguing with a lighthouse keeper. Sophie read the first paragraph. Then she stopped at the captain's line and looked at Daniel. Do you remember? She asked. Daniel lowered his voice until it sounded as if he had swallowed a trumpet. No vessel enters my harbor without a map. Sophie covered her mouth, but the laugh escaped anyway. They read the passage together. Daniel left at 10:14. He did not linger until leaving became another broken boundary. At the door, Sophie hugged him once and returned to the circle with her book. The event did not repair every missed chair. 2 weeks later, Daniel could not attend a morning assembly. This time, he told Sophie no as soon as he knew. He did not soften it with probably. He asked whether she wanted her mother or grandmother there, and when she said no, he accepted the answer without making her comfort him. The following Tuesday, he promised to be home for 15 minutes of reading before bed. It was a smaller promise than a school event. He kept it. Then he kept Thursday. Some evenings work still changed. Some evenings Sophie was disappointed. Trust did not return because Daniel found one perfect sentence. It grew because his yes began to mean yes, his no arrived early enough to be believed, and his uncertainty stopped pretending to be a plan. The blue star place card came home in Sophie's backpack. She did not hide it in the recycling again. She taped it to the back of the kitchen chair where Daniel sat when they read together. The chair was ordinary, scratched wood, one loose rung, close to the work phone on the counter. But now, when Daniel sat there, the card faced the room. A child's "don't come" can mean many things, and one story cannot explain every refusal. Sometimes a child truly wants space. Sometimes there is embarrassment, conflict, or another concern that deserves calm attention. In Sophie's fictional story, the clue was not the sentence alone, it was the pattern around it, erased plans, a book chosen for him, and the burden of wading through uncertain promises. Curiosity does not require a parent to abandon work, limits, or reality. It can begin by replacing a defensive question, "Why don't you want me?" with something more specific, "What do you imagine will happen if I say I'll try?" When a schedule is uncertain, a clear no, a confirmed yes, or a specific time for the next update may feel kinder than reassurance a child must keep testing. Repair is not measured by one emotional event. It is built through honest limits, smaller commitments, and enough repeated experience for a child to stop protecting the chair.